Did you just give me 40 years, sir? Sir, what's this? Yeah, can I say
Same full trigger that killed your son, now masturbates his memory.
Hey!
It was tough to look at him.
February 27, 2012, Chardon High School in Ohio. The Ohio Police Department responded to multiple calls from teachers and students about an active shooter in the building.
High school, we had shots fired, gunshots, multiple gunshots. 911.
Chardon High School, we need police up here. There's someone in the building with a gun.
According to police reports, the shooter TJ Lane entered the school cafeteria and opened fire, killing 3 students and severely injuring 3 others. Lane's actions sent shockwaves through the quiet community. He was quickly arrested and hit with charges: 3 counts of aggravated murder, 2 counts of attempted aggravated murder, and 1 count of felonious assault. But if the crimes weren't already bad enough, his behavior in court made things even worse. Lane showed no remorse. He wouldn't work with his lawyers, leaving them and the whole courtroom stunned. Then, in a chilling move, he walked into court wearing a t-shirt that said "Killer" and even flipped off the victims' families. During the sentencing hearing, Lane made a statement that shocked everyone.
Same pulled the trigger that killed your son, now masturbates his memory.
The hand that pulled the trigger that killed your sons now masturbates to the memory. The families of the victims were outraged, and the whole nation was disgusted by his words.
It was a very difficult statement to hear and to see its effect on the families. I mean, I don't think anyone could say anything different.
The brother in the courtroom and that did this was not the brother I knew.
Judge David Fury, who was presiding over the case, didn't hold back. He called Lane's actions heinous, unprovoked, and senseless. He handed down 3 life sentences without the possibility of parole. But even as he heard his fate, Lane showed no emotion or remorse. He just sat there, completely unfazed, with a smirk smile on his face which only fueled comparisons to a psychopath. In our next story, a person named Ricky Hand had been on a robbing spree in Ohio, targeting convenience stores late at night and making off with cash. The shop owner of John's drive-thru, just about to close for the night, had no idea that an armed Ricky Hand was lurking around. As Ricky approached the door, he was met by the owner, who was also armed and fired off a few shots to scare him away. Ricky fled the scene, and the owner quickly called the police to report the attempted robbery and the gunfire that followed.
911 emergency.
Yeah, this is John's drive-thru, West Main Street. A guy just tried to rob me and I shot him. He ran out the back door.
Okay, is he injured?
I think I hit him.
It didn't take long for Ricky to show up at a hospital with bullet wounds from that night, which led to his arrest. When the case went to court, Hand was slapped with a 40-year sentence.
Did you just give me 40 years, sir? Yes. You just gave me 40 years.
In a shocking outburst, he pulled out bottles of his urine and excrement that he had hidden in his arm sling and hurled them at his lawyer in court.
Sir, what's this? Yeah, can I say
Because of that stunt, Ricky picked up 5 more charges for harassment with bodily substances, 1 for his attorney and 4 for the deputies in the room. He was also charged with obstructing official business and retaliation. Our next case serves as a stark reminder of how quickly things can escalate, even in a courtroom. Deobra Redden was in court in Nevada for attempted battery after attacking a man with a baseball bat. He had pleaded guilty and was looking at a possible 1 to 4 years in prison. During his sentencing, Redden remained calm as he spoke with Judge Mary Kay Huss and was trying his hard to get out of the charges.
I would like to tell the courts, everyone here, like, based on my criminal history, like, I feel that, like, I shouldn't be, like, sent to prison for a second time.
But Judge Huss didn't hold back, reminding Redden of his lengthy criminal history.
Yeah, shape that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada.
3 felonies, a gross misdemeanor, 9 misdemeanors, domestic violence cases, battery on a protected person, robberies, and attempted home invasion. Despite his plea for a second chance, citing his struggles with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, Judge Huss was firm. She told him it was time he faced the consequences. Then, what happened will make you stunned.
With the laws of the state of Nevada.
Redden suddenly jumped over the courtroom bench, heading straight for Judge Huss. Deputies quickly restrained him, but not before a marshal suffered a head injury that required 25 stitches. A few days later, Redden was back in court for a second sentencing, heavily shackled and wearing a spit mask. Judge Huss, undeterred by the earlier attack, sentenced him to 19 to 48 months in prison.
I want to make it clear that I am not changing or modifying the sentence I was in the process of imposing last week before I was interrupted by defendant's actions.
On top of that, Redden now faces 13 new charges, including attempted murder and battery, which could land him in prison for decades. It's April 17, 2005, in the middle of the night in Rhode Island. Beloved police detective Jimmy Allen has just been shot twice in the chest while questioning a suspect about the stabbing of an elderly woman. Carpio had asked for water, and the 2 detectives that were in there with him, one left to go get the water and lock the door behind him. Officers outside the room hear a violent struggle but can't get in because the door is locked from the inside. They tragically heard Detective Allen say,
I think he's going to kill me. He's got my gun, he's going to kill me.
By the time they broke it down, the officer was dying, and Carpio had jumped out the window. The now suspected cop killer makes a daring escape, breaking through a glass window and plummeting 3 stories to the ground. Injured but alive, Carpio is on the run, and a massive manhunt is underway. Detective James Allen is a 27-year veteran of the Providence Police Department, and few cops are held in higher regard. He was regarded as one of the best police officers the city of Providence probably ever produced. Esteban Carpio is found and taken into custody nearly an hour after his bold escape.
And we've lost a remarkable man today. And this city is the worse for it.
Jimmy Allen passed in the noblest way possible. He gave his life trying to make our lives safer. He died serving us. He died a hero.
Carpio walks in. There are cries of shock and horror. Carpio's mask is called a spit shield. Police say the suspect was being combative, spitting on them, but his relatives think the mask is covering up a revenge beating Carpio took at the hands of police.
It's gross police brutality. He was mentally ill, and he needed help, and we couldn't get it. We tried and tried, and he didn't deserve it.
An investigation conducted by the FBI later concludes that Carpio sustained his wounds from a combination of smashing through the window, falling 3 stories, and the use of necessary force to apprehend the fleeing suspect. There is no civil rights violation. When injuries are incident to arrest, meaning if he's fighting the police officers, the officers have the right to use whatever force is necessary to subdue the subject.
There is no civil rights violation when injuries are incident to arrest, meaning if he's fighting the police officers, the officers have the right to use whatever force necessary to subdue.
As for the claim by Carpio's aunt that he's mentally ill, the jury rejects his insanity defense and finds him guilty of murdering James Allen. The judge gives him the maximum sentence allowed, life without parole.